The two new cavalry commanders are finally officially released in our commander tier list. So there's definitely going to be a lot to talk about them because Nevsky looks really OP. So you want to know the best talents and pairing for Nevsky and where exactly he will excel in Rise of Kingdoms. Hello everyone and welcome back to our Rise of Kingdom video. I'm Legend Ronnie and today we have Bertrand and Nevsky, the two new cavalry that have been officially released in our commander tier list. And I'm pleasantly surprised to say that Alexander Nevsky is a badass and definitely is going to be a OP commander. But in this video I'm just going to dedicate it for Nevsky. So I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about him, all my thoughts. I'm going to give you his talents, I'm going to give you his pairings, his best pairings, where I think he will excel the most. Any other commander spotlight, you definitely want to know the sculptures, the started you need to maximize a commander. You also want to know that Nevsky is going to be a wheel commander, which means that he's going to be accessible for everyone. This will be one of those commanders that everyone will want to have. You know, it's going to be a Saladin type of commander that it will be really good to have. Once I'm going to get more into his skills and details, you'll understand more. Now, a couple more things about commanders that you want to keep in mind is that talents only apply from the primary commander, skills work from all commanders, and equipment also only apply from the primary commander. So if you want to put Nevsky first, you want to make sure he's properly equipped, leveled up, and skilled in the same time. Now, before I'm going to go further into the video, there's going to be something that I need to detail about the skill talent tree. So I'm just going to pick another commander which is unlocked that has the skill talent tree. I'm just picking Markswoman just because of the skill talent tree. I've mentioned this in some of my previous videos, but I haven't really updated this for a very long time. So I'm pretty sure maybe some of you are not very familiar. Usually in the past, because we didn't have so many legendaries, I used to do epic commanders primary with legendary second, and I was always asked this question like, hey, why do you put epics first and legendary second? I mean, for what reason? It was because of the skill talent tree. This is also another reason why now I still apply the same tactic, but not with epic, obviously. I mean, nobody uses epic, just probably KVK 1, 2, and 3. People still uses epic. Once you reach Season of Conquest, everyone is using legendary. But that tactic being still applied today is a little bit different. So for example, I'm just using as an example LCID and YSG. And I had these questions like a lot. Why do you put LCID first? Why don't you put YSG first? Well, it's the reason because of the skill talent tree. So when you check this talent all for one, and then you have clarity, which means that your second in command gets a 12% skill damage boost. Now going back to Nevsky, on his primary skill he has 2300 damage factor. Definitely one of those commanders that you might want to put as a second. Now Nevsky comes with Bertrand, and you might have a thinking, well, hold on, Bertrand is defense and conquering. Maybe this is going to be like a super tanky cav pair. You put Bertrand first and then you put Nevsky second. No, you definitely don't want to do that. Nevsky is a pure skill damaging commanders, and once I'm going to go through all his skills, you'll understand even more. You're going to have to pair him with other skill damaging commanders. This 2300 nuke factor doesn't need to be behind an attack tree, doesn't need to be behind a defense tree, support tree, or whichever other tree. That I think I just said them all. It has to be behind a commander that has a skill talent tree. That's where you're going to get the best results out of it. And there's going to be quite a couple of pairs that Nevsky is going to work with, and that's going to surprise you. Another thing that I was pleasantly surprised is his troops defense decrease per stack. Now this kind of makes me understand that if the target is not surrounded, this will not work. You're probably thinking, hey, well, so okay, if the target is not surrounded, then I'm still debuffing with 15% defense. We're definitely gonna know exactly when he's released, but I'm guessing that if the target is not surrounded, this will not work, the defense decrease. And thinking about it, for example, on the field fighting, you're always swarming targets with all your marchers. So there's definitely all the time going to be 3 stacks, right? Just when you think about it. And 45% defense decrease, that's pretty huge. I mean, most of the commanders that we have for the field is like, what, 30%? And this one will do 45. So even for field fighting, he will be a beast. I mean, his primary skill is pretty significant. But that's one thing that you want to keep in mind. If the target is not surrounded, like rallying, in a rally situation, you're rallying a flag, a pass, a fortress, or a city or whatever. If he's not surrounded, the defense might just not work. The defense decrease. Still, just the damage itself, it's pretty mind-blowing. Going on to his second skill, we get Cav's attack, march speed, and health. But the health is only when outside alliance territory. So this is something you want to keep in mind. But 20% march speed, this is the second commander they are introducing with 20% march speed. Now, this has ups and downs. Because hear me out, you definitely want to think about a couple of things. There is a reason why Saladin and William is not on everyone's like list. That is because they are very, very fast. William has 15% march speed. When you look at him, Saladin has 5%. Saladin also has hasty departure, so it depends on the situation. Maybe you're just getting him out of your city, your flag, your tile. And when you're swarming a target, Saladin always goes around. And when he goes around, he can be easily picked by your opposing murder ball. And a lot of people don't like that. They don't like Saladin and William because of that, because being too fast and always circling around. He is defensive, but any marchman is swarmed, they just go down or you get bad trades and so on. Now Nevsky comes with 20% march speed as well, which I think it was a little bit on purpose when you think about it, because I believe that with whoever you want to pair him, you might want that the other pair will not have march speed. So that way your Nevsky will never circle around the target on the other side and just get picked off. Still, 20% attack and 20% health, that's a very, very nice boost. Pay attention and keep in mind the march speed. 20% cavalry defense. Well, he has attack, he has health, he definitely needs a little bit of defense as well. And then he gets damage bonuses and damage taken reduction when you're swarming targets. And the targets that you're swarming, as long as the target is surrounded, you get reduced damage. Which means that he might be a good tank when you're swarming targets, maybe even against infantry. If you can manage to control that when you're swarming a target and make sure Nevsky is first and then you're surrounding with the rest of the marches, he will take reduced damage. Regarding his third skill, you want to keep in mind that a target, it needs 2 marches to consider to be surrounded. So keep that in mind. Either rally or field fighting wise. 2300 damage factor is just not enough. He needs a skill damage boost. I mean, why not? Honestly, this is pretty OP to put Nevsky as a second in command. I was just explaining about the skill talent tree. Right, so for example, you do a Xi and a Nevsky. So Xiangyu is just going to debuff the target with defense, and then boom, Nevsky is just going to hit with a crazy ass amount of nuke and all these skill damage bonuses that he has. Man, I just don't want to think about the numbers that Nevsky can drop on some archer's garrison, for example. Imagine you have a ring like I do, a special talented ring, proccing when Nevsky is gonna drop his nuke. I mean, that's gonna be some phenomenal numbers that I'm looking forward to see. And then of course, something very, very important about Nevsky is going to be his normal attack. Usually all these commanders that do a lot of skill damage, they don't do a lot of normal attack. And on his expertise, troops led by this commander deal 5% increased normal attack damage. Usually when it's normal attack, it also counts as counter attack. It has been tested a couple of times, so I don't want to go there and detail this further. So this normal attack is basically 5% counter attack as well, which is pretty amazing. And then you have a 10% chance to increase the health of cavalry units, but bear in mind, 10% chance when attacked, right? So it means that this commander needs to be attacked. And that also means that if this commander or this march or this rally is being swarmed, that means multiple chances. The only difference is that this event can trigger at most once every 5 seconds. My honest opinion, because you know everybody, and I've been keep saying, and I'm so hyped about this commander, I'm just trying to find my words and you know keep the grip on about Nevsky, to tell you the truth. But archers are very OP in AoE. There is no other type of troops that have better AoE. Infantry is well known for being tanky, defensive, doing a lot of counterattack and so on, a lot of severely wounded, etc. But Cavs are known for single target damage. They've been like that for a very long time, except Xiangyu is the only one that came with a little bit of AoE. And even when you think about it, he has 25% penalty for each additional target. So even when you're thinking, oh yeah, he has 3 targets, unless he's rallying, when he's on the field, the damage is not so great. Single target, yes, he does great. But AoE, not so much. So this kind of tells you that cavalry is made for single target. Now if they are made for that, they obviously need to do a lot of damage. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to have a commander like Nevsky. The best talent tree that you can go with is going to be same as any other skill damaging commander. So if I go on my Xiangyu, you see that I go on all of them with the feral nature, and then you get them Blasphemous Shield, you got Undying Fury and Halberd. Just rage. Pure rage. That's exactly what you need. You need rage. You need to just overrage. I like to overrage. It works. So why not use it? Now let's go a little bit into his pairings. As I said, there is a couple of options that I'm really looking forward to try with Nevsky. I already mentioned Xiangyu, and that's pretty much what everybody is expecting. I believe 70% of the people are expecting that this is going to be the best pair for Nevsky, especially for rallying, putting Xiangyu first and then Nevsky as a second. For field fighting, he's definitely going to have a lot of other pairs that he can work with. I mean, he's a cavalry commander. Can work even with Bertrand, Jadwiga, Takeda, maybe not Attila, to be honest. Maybe Attila would be the only one. Or if you want to do mix and match pairs and you want to go with some leadership, definitely works. I mean, for field fighting, a lot of combinations are possible. But for rallying and more solid options for Nevsky, the first one I would say that is Xi, as I was already mentioning. Very nice synergy for Xiangyu, debuffing the target, and also Xiangyu increase skill damage even more. Xiangyu is also conquering, which will make a very solid choice for rallying purposes, Xi and Nevsky. Now the second commander that I think is going to be really good with Nevsky, Chandragupta, is going to have a solid 15% defense and health reduction with the third skill on the target, right? Because you have like 50% chances this is going to take like what, maybe 5 turns, and then the target is going to be continuously debuffed by health and defense. Then you have the 20% health. So think about, with all this health gear that we have in the game for cavalry right now, and there is cavs that are going over 130 health, which is pretty significant when you think about it. Now imagine when you do a Chandra and Nevsky. We already checked his skills. Nevsky gives a flat 20% health, and then with his expertise, another 30% chance. So this will be a very nice combination to see, and this will probably be the best combination where we can test if stacking health like madness is actually working. So Chandragupta being first and Nevsky as a second in command. And then you also have another interesting thing from Chandragupta is the 40% increase damage. How hard will Nevsky gonna hit? Well, we're gonna have to wait and find out. The third best option for Nevsky, I think, is gonna be Minamoto. The reason being that is obviously Minamoto has the skill talent tree as well. Minamoto hits very strong, and Minamoto with the museum gives you attack and defense, 25 attack and 20% defense. So this is a significant boost alongside 20 attack, damage increase on the target. When the synergy is working in your favor, like when everything is combining perfectly, and you get a proper damage reduction on the target, and then Nevsky is going to hit with all those things stacked up, I think there's gonna be some pretty interesting thing to see. And again, Minamoto also hits very, very strong, and then Minamoto also gets empowered a little bit by Nevsky with his 25% skill damage increase. And all these things combined, again, I think that this is gonna be a very, very decent pair, and this might just bring Minamoto again on the field. Nevsky will work, like if you want to do Nevsky and Double C. Double C is having the museum now with 20% health, so you want to put Nevsky first and Double C second, or if you want to do Double C first and Nevsky as a second for mobility purposes, because Nevsky has 20% march speed, so Double C and Nevsky is going to be the fastest cav march pair in the game. So for that purposes, that can also be a nice pair. Or as I was mentioning, Nevsky first and Double C second for damaging purposes with the museum and all the attack that Double C has increased and damage boost to his primary. That can also be a solid pair for field fighting. But I was mentioning regarding the skill talent tree, I would put Nevsky as a second, not as a primary. And then if you want more defense, Nevsky and Saladin, but we can be very honest about this. Saladin has a lot of utilities, no reason to put him with Nevsky. Then you have Genghis and Nevsky. This is an ish situation about Genghis. Also, Genghis has skill damage increase and all damage increase and damage bonuses and all this. But the problem is, I noticed that when Genghis drops below 70%, is that bridge between 70 and 50%. Even when he goes below 50%, he doesn't gain the same damage. Because it says over here, when troops led by this commander consist only of cavalry and more than 70%, they deal 20% increased damage. Now this is all damage. When he goes below 50%, it's just skill damage. So from all damage, which is normal attack and counter attack, he just goes to skill damage. So this is a bit if about Genghis Khan, to be honest, but obviously Genghis and Nevsky will also be a very, very solid pair, a machine of skills, if you want to call it like that. Takeda, Bertrand, very, very good pairs. William, if you want, Nevsky and William, but like I said, I think it will be a waste to put Nevsky as a first. All these pairs will definitely work with Nevsky, but I gave you my best three: Xiangyu, Chandragupta, and Minamoto. This is the best three, being first and Nevsky as a second. Right, so let me know in the comment section below what do you think about Alexander Nevsky. Is he going to be the next Attila Takeda or not? Until next time, this is your boy Geroni signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there, my friends.